Awesome. Okay, so I'm guessing we are live. Let me see. Close this. And I'm going to open the video on my side as well so that I can see that we are live. Yes, we are live. Awesome. Okay, cool. Uh, I hope my audio is clear, right? Yeah, cool. So it's showing that my audio is clear. There should be no echo, and we can start. Hello, everyone. Yeah. So uh, I'm really sorry for yesterday. I had no electricity, no internet. Uh, all of a sudden, everything just went away, and I couldn't start the stream. So we had to postpone this here for today, and I'm really sorry for that. We are going to do something interesting, and we are not doing anything different like the robotics car or home automation stuff. We are going to do coding on Hatch as normal, and I am going to show you how we can create the T-Rex game, the Chrome's T-Rex game. So we are going to learn how to create the Chrome's T-Rex game on Hatch. So I'm just going to it's 7:01, so I can start. It's good enough for me. Uh, cool. So yeah, cool. So Chrome's T-Rex game, right? So we are going to build that on Hatch. That is what our objective for today is. So before we start building the game, let us understand how the game works. Let us see the game, let us play the game, and let us understand how the game works. All right. So I'm just going to. There is this. This is a Chrome T-Rex game. I'm not going to play this. There is this link that autoplays the game. So I'm just going to play the game here, and we're going to talk about how the game is working here. Okay. So let's start. So as you can see, there is a character here. You see, this character is not moving left or right. The character is only moving up and down. Our dinosaur is only moving up and down. Okay. So, and how does the game work? You have to press your space key if you're playing it on your laptop, or if you play it on your phone or on your iPad or anything with a touch screen, then you have to touch your screen and then the dinosaur jumps up, right? So that is the only activity our character is going to be doing. Anytime we press the space key, it jumps up and then comes back and falls back to the ground. And then when it hits the ground, it doesn't fall below the ground. So it just jumps on top of the ground whenever you press your space key. That's the only activity your character is going to do. And what happens in the game? In the game, you have these cactus plants that are appearing randomly on the right side and coming towards our character, and we have to avoid that by jumping. That is the sole objective of our game. That is it. It is very simple. It is very simple, and we are going to uh, learn to make this on Hatch using our and make the modification of making this game as a 3D platform. We are going to be using Hatch Kids. Okay, so since a lot of our viewers are younger kids, so I am going to focus on making this game using the blocks platform of Hatch Kids. But I'm also going to show you that, I mean, if you can do it on Hatch Kids, you can easily do it using JavaScript on the Hatch Adults platform. So I'll show you the JavaScript code, and you can use that code to write the same game on Hatch Adults as well. Okay, it's very simple. Once you understand the logic of the game, it's very simple to build. All right. No, no, no. This site is doing automatic jumps. I am going to be building a game where when we press the space key, the dinosaur jumps. I'm just because I'm talking to you guys, so I opened up an autoplay game. Okay, don't worry about what's happening in the game. I just wanted to talk to you about the uh, properties, the characteristics of our game, where we press the space key and our character jumps up and down, moves up and then falls down. That's it. And then there are some randomly appearing cacti plants from the right hand side and moves towards our character and then disappears on the left hand side. Okay. And added benefit is that there is a small parallax effect that these people have added. You can see these clouds that they are moving very slowly in the background. It's uh, it's called a parallax effect to give a 3D effect to the game, that this is a 3D world. So because what happens is in the real world, when you are moving, things far away from you appear to move very slowly, and things closer to you appear to move very fast at your speed, right? So a relative, depending on the distance between you and an object between you, if you are moving, when you look at an object, they appear to move at different speed, at a slower speed the farther they are from you. So you can add that effect in your code to a game. It's called a parallax effect to give your game an impression of it being a 3D space. Okay, so we can implement that as well. We'll see if we have time today, then we are going to implement the parallax effect, otherwise we won't. Okay, cool, cool. So let's begin. All right, we are going to start. So you can see I already have a blank template open up. I can just send this link to all of you guys in the chat. You guys can also open this up, uh, or you guys can simply just go to kids.hatchxr.com, open up a new project and select a blank template. That's all I have done here. All right, so we are going to start with writing the code of the game first. I'm just going to go to the design tab. We are not going to design the game. I'm first going to write the code and then modify the code of the game with our characters. Okay. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete my sphere here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to code the game so that this box jumps up and down and cylinders appear randomly from the right hand side and tries to hit the box. Okay. So we are going to make a first, right now, first I'm going to focus on the code of the game, and then I'm going to modify the design of the game. Okay. Or, sorry, I should have turned my phone silent. Cool. So, yeah. Or actually, you know what? Let's modify the design of the game here itself. So what I'm going to do is I have, yeah, cool. I mean, you can use whatever you want. So I'm going to use a duck character. I have a good running duck character on Sketchfab. So see, I go to Sketchfab, I search for duck, and I have a duck character here. That is a really good, that has a good running animation, walking animation. So you see, I have added this duck character. It's very huge. I'm going to reduce the scale of it. I'm going to make it 0.08, 0.08, and 0.08 in the X, Y, and Z scale. So see, I have added a duck that is a good size right now, and I'm going to place this duck character at 0, 0, and 0. So it's placed exactly where my camera is right now. I'm going to move the camera a bit behind so that I can see the duck character. I'm going to make its Z position as 8. So you can see that I have a camera and my duck is here. All right, cool. So yeah, you can make this game on any platform or any coding window you want. I'm using Hatch to show you how you can make a 3D version of the game on our Hatch platform. So I have a duck here. Let me rotate it. So I want the trees or cactus to be coming from the right hand. Sorry. I want the trees and cactus to be coming from the right hand side. So I'm going to turn this duck 90 degrees on, oops, not this. Let me select my duck and I'm going to make it 90 degrees. So it's looking to the right hand side. Okay. If I go to the code window, you will see that my duck is looking to the right hand side, but my duck is at the center. I want it to be on the left hand side of it. So let's go to the design tab, and I'm going to select the duck, and I'm going to move, oh, sorry, I have to select the duck, and I'm moving the duck. Okay, let's say I'm moving it at -5. in the X position. If I go to the code window now, yeah, that seems to be a good position. Now what I can do is, I don't want this whole black and white ground here, so I'm going to delete this ground. I'm going to add a mine. You can design the game however you want. So I'm just going to make a simple design of the game with, I'm adding a Minecraft terrain. I'm keeping its width as 100, but I'm keeping its depth as 5 with no layer separation. So it looks like it's a single Minecraft road. See, maybe separation a bit more. That's okay. And I'm going to move it just below my duck. Yeah, this looks good. This looks good, right? So I'm just going to place the Minecraft terrain in the center. Now, you see, let's add a brighter sky and let's add some fog so that I don't see the ends of the terrain, so that it looks like it's infinite, it's huge. Okay, we are going to fake it. So we are going to fake it by adding a sky and a fog. So first of all, I'm going to add a sky, and this is my sky. I have added the sky, and I'm going to make it a solid colored sky, single color, and give it a brighter color. Good, this looks good. Yeah, I'm going to copy this color itself, the color that I'm giving to the sky, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a fog. You see, in the FX option here, there is this FX option on the top. We can add fog from it. So I select the fog option, and in the color of my fog, I paste the same color code of the sky. Okay, and I make the fog exponential, and I give it a density of 0.05. Now you will see, if I save this, you see, I'm not able to see the ends of my Minecraft path. So, I mean, who knows, the Minecraft path could be extending as long as it wants. So now what this will give us the benefit is, we won't be able to see exactly when the cactus also starts appearing. They will appear randomly far away, and it will appear out of thin air from the fog. That will give us a good illusion of coming it from far behind. Okay, cool. So this is good. Now, but the scene is a bit dark. So I'm going to add a light. I'm going to add an ambient light. This ambient light is too bright. I'm going to reduce the brightness of it a bit. And I'm going to add a point light on my duck so that my duck is always brighter. Okay. Yes. And I might reduce the intensity of this as well a bit. Cool. So I have my duck here, I have my path here, and what you can do is you can also add clouds as well. We'll do that later on. We are going to add one cactus, and I'm going to search for cactus. Let me just search for desert. I know desert gives me here good cactus plants. So yeah, there are some good options here. Is there anything that you guys prefer? I think I found one that I really liked, but I can't seem to find it right now, so no worries. I'm going to be using this plant. No, I think yeah, I'm going to be using this plant, this cactus. Somebody was asking, how do you add objects? Click on this plus sign. Okay, so you can see my cactus is already added. I'm going to place it at 0, 0, 0 to understand its scale and size. Okay, so it needs to be a bit above the ground. I can reduce the scale of it a bit. It's too far. Okay, wrong choice of words, but cool. So you see, I have my cactus here. It's an appropriate size and cool. So now what I'm going to do is, sorry, I'm going to select this cactus and I'm going to push it far away, because we are not going to be moving this cactus. This cactus is going to be a reference cactus to clone and create multiple cactus whenever we want. Okay, so we are going to make it invisible. Now, code. So let's start the code. I'm going to go to the code window, and here now see we have, okay, One thing we can do is we can also change the camera's angle to make it look like it's a 3D space, right? So I'm going to select my player. I'm going to select rotation, and I'm going to move my player a bit farther away. And let's see how does this. Yeah. Okay, so I can turn my camera a bit more to the right side. So select the camera, rotate a bit more to the right side, and maybe give it a small tilt downwards. Okay. Now let's go to the code. Awesome. This looks good. So now what we are going to do is we are going to make the duck run. So my duck already has a running animation. So I'm going to select the duck character here. And you see in the built-in animations, there is a walk animation. I'm going to select that by default. And I'm going to give it a crossfade of 0.1, 0.2 seconds. Don't worry about that. Maybe increase the speed of the walking to 1.5 to make it look like it's running. Cool. So you see, yeah, I have my duck. It looks like it's waddling around on this Minecraft terrain. And we are now going to write the code so that my duck jumps when I press the space key and cactus appears or something appears. So now, let's start the programming part. Ouch, my legs are cramping. I'm so sorry. Okay, cool. So mhm, let's start the coding part. So first of all, uh, to make the character jump, whenever we give it as whenever we press a space key, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a variable called velocity for a y velocity of the duck. Okay, you can give it any name you want. So I'm going to create a variable. Go to variables option, create variable, and call it duck underscore vy, velocity in the y direction. Because when you jump, you move only in the y direction, in the up and down. So that's moving only in the y direction. You're not changing its x or z position. So duck underscore vy is the name I'm giving, and its speed is always going to be 0 until and unless you have space key. Its speed is going to be 0, right? And uh, yeah, you can. Oh, fine. I'll change tree later on. Okay. Duck vy is 0. Now, since my duck has to fall down, it's basically falling down because gravity is acting on it. So gravity by default is not implemented in these 3D platforms. You have to write the code so that gravity gets added to the game. So I'm going to create a variable and I'm going to call the variable gravity. Okay. And by default, going to so gravity always acts downwards. Gravity, because it acts downwards, it has a negative value. So gravity has a value. I'm going to give it a value for now, minus 0.05. Okay, we can adjust the values later on. We'll have to modify the value of gravity, the velocity you give, by and see what jump looks better on your character. Okay, so don't worry about why I'm giving this a 0.05 value right now. We are going to change this value depending on how our game looks. So yeah, now that we have duck vy 0 and gravity as minus 0.05, what we need to do is we are going to go to our events block and bring out this when green play button click. Okay, so when green play button click, what we're going to do is we want to add a forever block here. Things are going to be happening forever, always. Like my duck is going to try to jump. Uh, okay, let me show you what I mean. So when I give it a forever block, and I want to change the y position of my duck with whatever the value of this velocity, the speed of my duck is. Okay, so I'm going to click on my duck character on the left hand side. Okay, Yeah, I'm going to select my duck character here. And here you will see there is a block called duck change y by 1. Okay, I'm going to bring this out. I'm going to remove this 1 from here, and I'm going to add the variable duck vy inside this. So what I'm saying is, uh, the moment my game starts, whenever I click on the green play button, my code is always going to try to change the y position of the duck with this vy variable's value. Because the duck vy variable is 0, that means that there is no change in the y position. But now see, what we can do is, I can just go to my events option and select this when space key pressed block. Okay, and I'll say the moment my duck gets the moment the space key is pressed, I'm going to say set the variable duck size value to, let's say, 0.1. So anytime you press the space key, your duck gets a duck vy variable, its value becomes 0.1. Now see, this blue block, duck change y by its vy velocity, this is always running because it's inside a forever block. This is always running. But initially, the speed's value is 0. The moment you press your space key, its value becomes 0.1. So earlier your duck was not moving up. Even though this block is running forever, my duck was not moving anywhere because the change was 0. But the moment you press your space key, you're giving it some change of 0.1. So your duck will start moving. Let's see if it works or not. So I have clicked on the green play button. You can see my duck is not moving right now. But if I press my space key, you can see my duck is moving up. Yeah. So I pressed my space key. Because I changed the value of duck vy to 0.1, the duck started moving up. Okay. Now we also want the duck to fall down. So to fall down, what happens in the real world is our speed is always affected by our gravity. Our downward speed is always affected by our gravity. We are always falling downwards, but because of our ground, we are not falling below it. Okay. So, but what happens is our gravity always tries to reduce our Vy. Okay. So what we are going to do is, we are going to say after duck change y by duck vy, I'm going to say go to my variables option and I'm going to select this change duck vy. Okay, change duck vy. Gravity always changes up your y velocity. So change duck vy by gravity, not y gravity. So now see what happens. I click on reload. You will see that the moment I click on the green play button, my duck will fall down because it the moment my game started, duck vy's value was 0. I'm just going to rename this variable, not duck vy, duck speed. Okay, so duck speed was 0 at the very start of the game, but after this ran for the very first time, changed the value of my duck speed to minus 0.05, and then it again changed the value of my speed to minus 0.1, then minus 0.15, minus 0.2, and so on. It kept on changing, because of which after the first time it ran, my duck started falling down because duck speed had some value. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to add another if condition. Because we don't want our duck to fall below the ground, we are going to add an if condition. And we are going to say, I'm just going to position this space key block here. So I'm going to say here that if the duck's y position is 0, is less than 0, then don't move it. Right now, when the duck is on the ground, its y position is 0. So if the duck, I will click on duck and uh, yeah, get here this getx block and select get y here. So if the y position of my duck, go to logic, is less than less than 0. Okay. So if my duck starts falling below the ground, then uh, set the duck's position to 0. Set the duck's y position to 0. That's what we are going to do. So I click on my duck. I go down. Set the duck's y position to 0. Okay. Um, cool. Duck's y position to 0 and uh, set the duck speed variable back to 0 as well. Setting everything back to 0 so that it doesn't try to fall below the ground. Now if I reload the game, you'll see what happens. I click on the green play button. Now see, yeah. So I press my space key. My duck is jumping, but because my speed is very small and the gravity is very high, so it's not moving very high. Let's increase the speed. So 0.5. See? Now this is not that smooth of a motion, not that good of a jump. So that's why I said that we are going to be manipulating the value of duck speed and the gravity to see that which combination of values make it look like a realistic jump. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm going to reduce the value of gravity. 0.05 is 0.00, let's say 8. And my camera turned off. Let me turn on my camera again. Uh, am I blurred? I'm not blurred. Cool. So let's come back here. Now, uh, yeah, sorry, I have this thing. This cool. So we change the value of gravity to minus 0.008. Let's change the duck speed to 0.3. And let's see how this looks. Okay. So click on the green play button, press the space key. Okay, it's too slow. I think minus 0.01 would be a good gravity here. Okay, looks good. Maybe initial velocity is 0.25. How does that look? Yeah, this looks good. And now I can maybe increase the gravity to minus 0.015. Yes, this looks good. And I can now increase the speed to 0.3. Perfect. This looks like a realistic jump now. Okay. So good. Now that my duck has a good jump effect, let's add cactus. Okay. So yeah, I already have the cactus model added here. So what we are going to do is we are going to use this model right now, and later on I will change this to a different model of a tree. You guys can change it to whatever you want. Okay. So before I do any of that, what I want to do is, so you see this everything inside my forever block right now, what is it doing? It's making my duck jump. That's it, right? So what we can do is to clean up code and to make it more modular, I'm going to go to my functions. I'm going to create a function called jump, and I'm going to select these blocks, bring out these blocks out of forever, and place it inside my jump function. So I'm creating a function called jump. I'm placing my jump function here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my functions, select my jump function here, and place this in forever. So it's the same activity. It's virtually basically these blocks are attached here, but this just keeps There are lots of good uses of functions. It just keeps my code clean up right now. And yeah, so it's easier to follow as well. So now forever try to jump, but because the duck's speed is 0, so it's not jumping. But the moment I press my space key, it gets some speed. And my duck jumps. Simple logic, right? Good. So this is done. So now we have to add cactus. So cactus, we are going to do the same thing. We are going to create a function, and I'm going to call this function, name this function, create cacti. Okay, and we are going to be calling this function again and again in our forever block. So we have to give it some activity, right? We have to define what is going to happen in create cacti. So what is going to happen is we have to uh, continuously clone the cactus object that we added in our design mode, right? We have to randomly clone because the cactus are randomly placed, randomly generated, okay? So we have to figure out a logic of how to randomly generate those cactus and those cacti and then place them, right? So there are literally lots and lots of ways you can randomly, or you can write a code to randomly generate stuff. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use a very, very simple idea here. You will notice that in your math block, there is a block called random number from 1 to 100. Okay. Most of you know that what this block does is this block generates a random number. Whenever this block runs, this block generates a random number between 1 and 100. Okay, 1 and 100, including those two, 1 and 100. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Anytime this block runs, it will give you, this block will equal to any random number between 1 and 100. Okay. What I'm going to do is, I am going to, actually somebody just suggested something. Call the jump function whenever the space key is pressed. I think that's also good. So we don't have to call the jump function forever. We can, no, 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 you can't call the jump function. You can't jump because uh, to make it move up and then fall down, that activity is going to happen. That movement activity is happening again and again. That's why the jump function, I place it in forever. I was thinking, why did I not do that? But yes, the space key event is only running once. This forever block is running again and again and again and again. Okay, so uh, uh, cool. So yeah, cactus. We are going to. So what this random number block does is random number block is going to generate a random number between 1 and 100. What we are going to do is I'm going to add an if-else statement here. And I'm going to say, whenever this create cacti function is called, generate a random number, and that random number is equal to 1, is equal to 1. Then do the following set of activities. Following? Are you guys getting what I'm saying? So create cacti function is going to be called again and again. It's going to be, so my forever block runs, if you look at the code of a forever block, by default, my forever block runs every 10 milliseconds. So in 1 second, this forever block is running 100 times. So this create cacti function is running 100 times. Because this create cacti function is being called 100 times, so every 10 milliseconds, this block is going to generate a random number. Every 10 milliseconds, this block is going to generate a random number. And what it is going to do is, if that random number is equal to 1, basically out of 1 and 100, between 1 and 100, it can have any number. If the random number generated is 2, then this if statement will not be true. So my cactus will not be created. Okay. But if the random number is only one, so there is only a 1% chance in every 10 millisecond for a cactus to be created. That's what I'm writing the logic here. That's a very simple logic. You can have more advanced, more modified random generation logic as well. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to say every time my create cacti function is called, generate a random number between 1 and 100, and if that number is equal to 1, so 1% chance every 100 terms times, what you can do is you can now clone this cactus object that I had. Okay, so go to your cactus, click on that, bring this out, clone cactus and store it as a plant object. Okay, and what we are going to do is we are going to then go to our object section, and first of all, original cactus is not visible. So we have to make the cloned cactus visible. So set plant visible to true. Set plant visible to true, and then we have to position this cloned plant somewhere in the fog for front of the duck. Okay, so it's going to have a huge x value, and the y value of our cactus is going to be the same as you guys can rewind the video, as in this is you can just, if you were not able to understand, you can, what do you want what do you want me to repeat? So see, its y position is 0.58. I just wanted that. Tell me what do you want me to repeat. I'll repeat that. Otherwise, you can rewind the video and watch that as well. So every 1 in 100 time, clone my cactus plant, set the visibility of that plant object, clone the cactus and store it as an object named plant. Okay, and make that plant object visible. Okay, once that plant object is visible, then place that plant object, set the position of the plant object in x as, let's say, -20, -20. Okay, y, we just check the y value of the original cactus plant. We can just use that same. So go to cactus here, scroll down, cactus get y. Okay, that because we don't want the cactus to be up or down. We want the same position as the original cactus plant. So that's why I'm saying this, or you can just say 0.58 here as well. And z is 0. Now, after this, what I wanted to do is I want it to move towards me. But before I make it move towards me, because there are going to be lots of cactus created, let me just show you. Let me just give the x here. I'm just going to show you that not every time my cactus will be created. So I'm going to math. I'm going to have a random number as well between -10 and 10. And what I want to show you guys is that the moment I click on the green play button, you will notice that there is, yeah, see, at random moments, not whenever, not in a periodic moment, but randomly at random times, more cactus plants are generated. Okay, that is what we want. That is what we want. But we don't want the x position to be a random number. We want the x position to be far away into the fog. So that's why I'm saying, oh, 20. Okay. Um, I didn't get, so Viral the gamer is was mentioning something about we only have a workspace tab. If we have a tab, then we can place the cactus in the storage and then clone it to the workspace. I didn't follow what you are saying. If you can explain your logic again in a clearer way, I can tell you why are we doing this way. Okay. Uh, cool. Uh, let's continue. So now you saw we were generating lots of new cactus. we have to store those cactus somewhere, right? So what we are going to do is we are going to create an array variable. So we're going to create a list, a variable called cacti, and set variable cacti to, see, go to list and maps and select create empty list. So at the beginning of our game, the cacti array is going to be an empty array. And then what we're going to do is every time we clone, we are going to store that cactus in our cacti array. So go to our cactus. Here select, you see, update list values section. There is a block called in list. And then select the name of the list. So cacti is my list. And insert at end. And what do you want to insert? I want to insert the plant. I want to add that plant object in my cacti array. So I go to my object, select plant, and add. So these activities are going to be done every single time a cactus object is cloned. So out of one in a out of one in a hundred, there is a chance of 1 in 100 that my original cactus plant is going to be cloned. Okay, and whenever it's cloned, we are making that cloned plant visible, and we are placing it very far in front of our duck, and we are adding that plant in our array called cacti. Okay, why we added this array, I'll show you. Because after we have created our cacti, we have to move all the cacti in that array. Okay, so we are not going to move them individually, we can just move our entire array of cacti together. Okay, somebody is saying my voice is breaking, my internet is not. Dude, my internet is perfect. Let me just check my internet speed. It might be glitching, but I am hoping my internet is perfect. Oh, weird. Okay, it is slow. It is slow. Cool. Picking up. Should not be an issue anymore. Cool. Um, yeah. So once you have created a cacti and placed it inside the cacti array, what we want to do is we want to move that. Move all of our cacti. So what we are going to do is we are going to go to our controls option, and here at the very end you will see there is a block called for each element in list. For each element, list called cacti for each uh, tree. In list called cacti, to move those trees with a speed, with some x speed. Okay, so I'm going to create another variable called cactus x speed, and math its position. Set the variable. Oh, we don't need a 0, we can just give it a value. So we want the cactus to be moving in the left, so behind, towards, so it needs a negative value because its x value will be decreasing. Behind us is the negative x value. In front of us in this angle is the positive x value. So because the cactus are going to be moving towards us, their x position is decreasing. That is why we need a negative x speed for our cactus. So minus 0.1 for now. Okay, we can modify the speed later on. Yeah. So cool. Perfect. So for each tree in the list cacti, what we are going to do is we are going to change the x position of individual tree. So we are seeing that loop through all the plant objects in the cacti array, and while I'm looping through each of them, call them as trees, and then change the tree's x position by the x speed variable. So go to your objects menu here, and you see there is a change x by. Here uh, select here the tree object. So change the tree's x position by what? By the variable cactus x speed. And this should work. This should be now creating random cactuses and cacti and moving them towards us. Let's hope it works. Yeah, see, it works. Cacti are getting created. They will be randomly created. So even I don't know when they will be created, but it works, right? They are getting created and they are just coming towards us. Cool. But there is one problem. All the cactus that we have created, all the cacti that we have created are forever going to be in our scene, and uh, they will try to slow down our scene. But after they have passed our duck, let's say after they have disappeared into this fog, we don't have any use of those cactus, right? So what we can do is we can just oh, this is going to give you an error initially, because initially my cactus array is empty. So what we can do is we can add another if statement if the cactus list is not empty. So empty, logic, not empty, and what is not empty? The cacti array. So if the cacti array is not empty, only then move the cactus towards the duck. Okay. Otherwise, don't have to do any activity. It will reduce the uh, computations it has to do. Now, what we will do is we will delete the cactus that have gone behind us. Okay. So, so what we're going to do is we are going to, so after it has moved, so see, we only have to check the very first element, very first cactus in our array. Okay. Because if the first cactus has not moved behind the duck, then the remaining cactus have also not moved behind the duck. So what we are going to do is we are going to check the x position of the very first element, very first cactus in our cacti array, and we are going to check its x position, see if its x position has gone, let's say, less than minus 20. If it has gone less than minus 20, then we will tell our hatch workspace to delete that cactus element completely, and then the second element of our cactus array becomes the first element. Okay, so then that same loop can always run forever. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to say here we are going to create another variable called first cacti, and I'm going to place this below my for each tree in the list after that. Okay, we are going to place it here, and I'm going to say what is this first cacti. This is the first element of my cacti array. So go to your list and maps, and here in list get from start the 0 element. 0 is the index. Do it this way, or you can just say get the first element. Both ways are correct. I like to have a control of the number here. So in list cacti get from start the 0 element. So the first 0 is basically the first element in an array. Its index is 0. You see, cacti is equal to cacti and round bracket and square bracket 0. This is how you address in JavaScript. Okay. So we are storing our yeah. So we are storing our variables in the we're creating a variable called first cacti, and we are saying in list cacti get from start the first element of my cacti element, and now that is called the first cacti. So what we are going to do is we are going to check if another if statement here. See, most of your game logic is just if, that's all, depending on when they are going to be executed. So if the first cacti is x position, so first cacti here, first cacti get x is less than, let's say, minus. So go to maths, minus 20. Then what do? We remove the first cacti element from, okay, So go to list here, in list cacti, remove first element. Okay, this. So it will remove the first element from the list. Okay, let's see how does this look. I'm going to yeah. You can obviously write the code as a script. I'm showing you the JavaScript code of the game here. There is a show script button in the editor that shows you the JavaScript code of it. And we have a JavaScript editor of Hatch. You can write this entire my camera turned off again. Let me turn it on. Okay, my battery of the camera has shut down, so I'm just going to turn off my camera. We have a very small amount of thing left, so we are just going to continue this way. Okay. Yeah, what I was saying was, yeah, you can that thing in the Hatch Adults platform as well. Don't worry about it. So what we're going to do here is I'm just going to show you how this is now going to affect our game. I'm going to click on the green play button. See, I'm right now the collision thing. I'm not adding the collision thing, but see, I'm just going to look back, and we are going to see that all the cactus stop after their X position becomes minus 20. They don't move this because we are removing them from the array. Okay, we are removing them from the array, and we are only moving the cactus plants that are in the array. Okay, so what we can do is now once they have been removed from the array, we can tell Hatch to destroy those objects from the workspace as well. So destroy first cacti from Hatch workspace, so that they don't even have to be visible. And let's reload and let's see how does this look. Yeah, I'll show you the script version of it. You can do it in script as well. Same logic. You can just do it in script as well. So see now, yeah, see the cactus get deleted after a specific point. Maybe I can have it as minus 40 so that they disappear into the fog. It looks like they're disappearing into the fog. So let's try to jump. Oops. Okay, cool. So yeah, see they are disappearing into the fog. Cool. And I know that they are getting deleted. Perfect. Main part of our game is done. We just have to add the cactus hitting the duck. So what we can do is we can just, whenever we are creating a cactus plant, whenever we are cloning the cactus plant, we can attach a detect collision event with each clone. Okay, how do you do that? Go to your objects menu, scroll down. There is a detect collision block here. Okay, there is a detect collision block here, and what we can do here is detect collision with what? With our duck. Okay, so we'll detect the plant's collision with our duck, but we have to attach this here after cloning our plant. So you see this cannot be attached because this has a cap. So what we have done is you have an enable notch option here. If you select this, you see the notch appears. So now I can attach this here. What I'm saying is every time I clone an object, make it so make every time I clone a cactus, make that visible, set its position forward into the fog, and add this detect collision event with duck on that cactus, so that whenever it each of those cactus plants are going to detect whenever they are colliding with our duck. Okay. Now what we want to do is whenever this collision happens, we want the game to stop. So what we can do is we want basically this forever loop to stop. So to make that happen, I'm going to create a boolean variable, a true false variable. So I'm going to create a variable called is game over. Okay, and create it, and I'm going to set this variable false. So is game over variable is going to become true whenever whenever one of the cactus duck. Okay, so what I'm going to do is logic and false. Okay. And I'm going to duplicate this, and I'm going to say that whenever this detect collision, whenever there's a collision between a cactus plant and the duck, make that variable true. Okay, and if this variable is true, then we want the forever loop to stop. So we go to our control blocks. If variable is game over, so if is game over is true, I can simply say this. If is game over, if it's true, then do what? Then go to your control blocks and use, there is a block called break out. So that's this. So if the game is over, then break out of loop. Stop the completely. Let's see how does this look. Yeah. So jump. Oops, it hit the cactus or stopped. See, the entire loop stopped. Okay. Yeah, I also want my duck to stop walking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say duck uh, duck set animation clip to idle. So it will stop walking. It will stop walking whenever it hits the cactus. Okay. Yeah. So let's test it out. Yeah. See. So game stopped. Now, okay. Maybe I need to give it a smaller gravity and a bit small speed. I think this will make my character. Yeah. So let's run this. Oh, sorry, I was looking at the comments and yeah. See, there are lots of logic you can implement. There are lots of ways you can write the code. Okay, this works. This logic works. Okay, so this is going to my cactus is coming. Jump. Oh, give it a larger speed, 0.35. Yeah, cool. And when I hit the cactus, see, entire game stops. Awesome, cool. So next thing, I mean, now what it depends on you what you want to modify here. You can add clouds and make them move slowly to give a parallax effect. You can add score. Score is very simple. You add a score variable, you add a 2D text variable, you add a 2D text, and then just display the variables, score variable in the text object. Simple as that. And you can do a lot of stuff. You can modify the game however you want. I'm just going to save this. So uh, Donald Duck T-Rex game. And I'm going to publish this. You can modify it however you want. You can create however you want. Okay. So cool. Game is ready. You can share it with your friends. If you want to make the game playable on phone, all you have to do is go to your events and just add this when on scene touched. Okay. The same activity as your space key pressed. So if I do this and I update the game now, I will be able to play my game on my phone. Cool. And it looks 3D, it looks really good. You can modify the design of it. This is a very simple design. You can however you want. I just wanted to show you guys the logic of it. So how does the logic works? You make the duck jump with a variable Vy, with a speed variable in the Y direction, and add a gravity that is always changing your Y velocity. And you keep a check on if it's falling below the ground or not. And then whenever the space key is pressed or the scene is touched, you give it a y velocity, a positive y velocity. Simple as that. and then you create cacti randomly. Now, this random logic can be more improved on this. You can add a minimum distance between two cactus as well. Like create another variable, minimum distance, and define, like, let's say between two cactus, I at least need a distance of 5 units. And then what you can say is, uh, check the x position of the very last element in the cacti array, and if that is not less than your minimum, if that is greater than the minimum distance, then you create another cactus along with. Okay, so you can add lots of, you can modify your randomization logic a lot. Cool. Sure. So the game is ready. Update the game so that we can play. Let you scan this. You guys can scan this QR code or even copy. I can send this link to all of you guys here as well. You can play this game however you want. Okay. So try this out. I have sent you guys the link of the game on the chat as well, so you guys can try it out from your side. Okay. Um, and then if you want to create this in the JavaScript version of it, I have a game in the JavaScript version, but it has a lot of stuff. So let me just show you guys. Okay, we are done with the session. I can end this and just let me just show you guys a JavaScript version of it, and then you can modify it however you want. Let me show you guys, and then we are going to end the session. So I have, I'll have to, it's very far behind. Just wait. Just have patience for another 50 minutes. Oh, I wanted to ask you guys, what should I do next? Because I mean, I have lots of things in my mind that I can show you guys, but uh, I am not sure what will you guys like to do. So yeah, so this is a T-Rex game in JavaScript code. Same thing, same logic of jumping and creating the cactus. See, randomly I'm creating the cactus and moving the cactus. It's the same logic, okay? And but this is I have written this very inefficiently, so it might run slowly. Let me just show you guys. Last thing. Yeah, so I have a dinosaur here. This dinosaur jumps. I have cactus. Yeah, and I have not added the collision logic here, so that I have added some trees on the background to add the parallax effect. But yeah, you guys can do this as well in the JavaScript code as well. You can create this. It's easy. I have a basic T-Rex game that was made using just a box and a cylinder on a code. No, FPS of that T-Rex was fine. Yeah. See, a very simple with box and cylinder as well. Idea is the same. My box jumps. It has to jump over the cylinder. In the beginning, don't worry about the aesthetics. Just code the game, and then you can change the uh, design of it however you want later on. Cool. I can send you guys the link of this game in the chat. You guys can practice this. Try this out if you want. Um, I just um, oh, I think I sent you guys a link. Cool. Chalo. So session done. I hope you guys had fun. I'll give you the options. So I have a Beat Saber game. I have made a Beat Saber game on Hatch. We can do that, or we can do a an AI project if you guys want, a neural network project, or we can do a 3D snake game. This is a different type of 3D snake game than what you guys learn in your classes. We can do a tennis game. Oh, I had some other things in my mind. Oh my God, I forgot. Yeah, we can discuss that later on. Mm, I'll post it somewhere and you guys can select whatever you want. Depending on the number of votes, we can change it. Cool. Chalo, bye bye. Session done. See you guys next time.